think horses really want to be ridden and slaughtered. I am doing fine. I am off the map a little bit. I don't worry about being dead. The friend I would be, no one wants to care for the thing. Her roommate says to us, "When are you just going to kill the thing? It's a joke. Press fruit into waiting palm. You may marry reverse trauma. Whatever mothers do." I was blind, cavorting near the Potomac's inlet, and with berries in their hands. I apologized and explained, nodding no. Winter, the world is shutting down again. Why, we had the whole rigmarole of being alive before soon enough being senseless. I had no feelings the whole spring. I realized this country, it is small, woman eating a cheesecake alone. Never reconcile touch. Sit tight for infinite love and any variation. Laid out in silver, the small islands bridged in the current, the many bridges I had written down quietly, never telling anyone, not the day after. When the sky turned black, invincibly opaque, trying to get to and from the airport, I knew I had seen other worlds, and that I loved no blood from me. I hated the small view, that unredeemable river, it leaves me. Be still, then I did not respond except with laughter. You laughed at me like I had laughed at he. I of an omniscient God, illusory space, difficulties with my mother's surgery. I need some good mountains where I next go. We were looking at the good farm, but I was so bored, barely spoke to me the whole time, but socialized amiably with the others, never going beneath the surface. Collapsing into an unknowable sea, we could be friends during the day, like some secret diplomat in this give a smile or word system. As we raced to the gate, questioned in every room, confess I forget this part. On the way there, standing with my grandmother before bidding her, surprising myself. For better parting words I could not think of. I wanted to turn myself in every sense, freight painting, yellow light on the rails, the electric towers like ladders to the sky. The joy of each late spring morning, yellow, in trash cans with no rough edges, the comfort of the language softly spoken everywhere, unremarkable space of someone's room. Don't often think of romance, the sly depressive with a sweet face and curly hair. I treasured the days here my friends might go apple picking. The poet says, don't worry. Self-sacrificing, but not out of vindication or desire, in the shadow beneath the bridge, the crawfish jumping under the rocks, I did not want to watch her. She, like a ship in this harbor, opposite directions before meeting. He wanted to get married, scratched out a deeper book made of the one before. All painted and illustrated, I'm glad to not be thought of. Winter is easy, a gray day in heaven. Each hour is stolen from death, but he is like a sigh, at the very least revelatory. The air escapes easy, the death of water, here is my moment christened. A ghost exchange through the living room mirror, I really think of you. What we cannot have, to sleep on my mother's floor, doused in vinegar. In these small affairs, drew our stories, notes on paper, the doors to each church were closed. Still our shadows loomed against the walls of the monastery, stretching out to meet the darkness of the city. Orphan on both sides, alone in the world, we had parted as the snow began to fall. Outside a diner in Chicago, the moments of the dead sinking into the next. I too sleep. at the foot of the bed of a childhood friend. And today my friends might go apple picking. I know, blood, I don't have any, and yet I forgave you before you were born. I stumbled across some pictures of a sweet boy. I used to know no more words, please, no more perfect freedom awaits. Absolute isolation, beautiful beckoning space wide open. And I have duties and obligations, so I dream of the first, wake in the second, only to close my eyes again, thinking, I know you're in depths unrealized. I remember the bracelets. I did not disregard you then. Cousins perched outside the Manassas farmhouse, the grass faded black and white, or the elders of what awaits outside. I want to go outside where I was made, on the outside of everything. Of course I love you. I see you on the other side, great beauty. I have failed to reconcile desire. I wake late in the day, ready for nothing. For a walk to the river, treat me fraternally with compassion, like a sister or brother. No matter how guilty I be, its surface like two surfaces thinking of the law. They lay on the strokes with all their might, the surface of the reflected sky and then the substance of water itself. We were turning back thinking that there was no need anymore, that you knew too, remnants of the bird's song, the run of the river, on and on. Tivoli like a dream, warm-lit room in the outside, gray, effortless space. I offer her terrible abandon. I dedicate to what I had known there as though to myself or to her. Pale yellow and blue light edged in the cherry blossoms reflecting in Lincoln's reflecting pool. And again, Potomac, it will go this way for 20 minutes, she says. Over the space heaters in a house, her back forms a crooked curve. She is warming her hands, full autumnal moon, as if some vital gift. To be at the beginning, so far displaced, caring, that is really knowing, because none of the encounters are anything more than a view of indeed where one is walking, or at least the whole sea as opens up in one's vision. Unimaginably profusion of light and sound that is real life. The end, that is like grace, a miraculous land, that will soon be over by the incoming tide. A photo of us by the wild ponies at the funeral I had thought to enter a new earth. There were flowers all over the house. I knew that there were not really any flowers in the house, but I could smell them. The cows went to the racetrack I used to dream. But then a lot of things happened. Awake at night listening to the cricket noise, rising and falling in summer, and some nostalgia comes unbidden somewhere in the space of a chest. In order to resell the car with a clean title, I would have to drive it back. I speak some names aloud, but there are no bodies to retrieve, no faces to trace. I was mindless. I'd like to hear an indefinite edge for at least a stretch of days when it rains, a terrible summer thunderstorm. A more proper exit was needed. Television in your small apartment near 116th. There remained one square of tile on which to stand. If one wanted to observe oneself in the mirror, it was possible. To stand on the side of the tub, though it became difficult to balance when it was wet. Every shower involved flooding the entire interior and fogging the small chamber. I had mastered the art of living while asleep. The Capitol building is empty at midday on a Tuesday, cast open in an ancient dream of morning. Young children ran about, chattering in Yiddish and giggling. What unknown prank had been committed? I sat in my room. The pressure of lying there began to hurt my arms, my legs. wherever I go, I'm still the stranger. I had never met her. Though the train moved horizontally, I felt that I was moving vertically the whole ride, falling by a significant elevation quite suddenly, then falling upwards, then back down. An elderly man gripped a newspaper, chewing ever so slightly on his lip. Occasionally he peered around at the rest of the car before his gaze settled on the window. Were I to think long about it, as I rarely had, I would suggest that they simply served the purpose of taking individuals from one place to another, but unlike other modes of transit, they were suitable for those of us who didn't know where to go.
Very tired.
Tour.
Yeah, it was the festival. We went out the whole night and watched everything, and then we were in a festival in Bratislava, so it was 2 nights. Yeah. So that really, it was cool. But it wasn't just like, it was more than just an evening like this, Anyway, we're going to not do some of our hard stuff because it feels like a quieter space, so we're going to do some of our lullabies. I hope it's not too boring.
Ja.